Welcome to the Dixie Doggers podcast. We're here to share knowledge and heritage. We hope y'all enjoy. For the best cut gear in the business, get with Dave Williams at Southern Cross Cut Gear. www.hogdoggear.com.
If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties, 678-791-3483.
777 Kennels, Advanced K9 Nutrition. Vertex K9 Essentials, Advanced K9 Nutrition, beneficial to all breeds. You can contact them at 979-206-3050. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Joey and Nate here. Gonna do another Dixie Doggers podcast. I bet y'all tired of hearing all that shit. Same old thing. All that guy does is talk. Well, I don't give a damn. You're gonna listen to it. So we got us a good guest tonight. He is top of the line, world champion. He loves them tree dogs. We got Mr. Lane Williams with us tonight. So how we doing, Mr. Lane?
I'm doing good, Mr. Joey. How you doing?
Man, listen, not worth a shit. Look, I've got arthritis, carpal tunnel. Okay, never mind. So you really didn't want to know, did you? No, man, doing good. Just trying to beat the heat and trying to work and make a few bucks here and there so that way we can hog hunt. Squirrel season will be here soon. Yeah, squirrel season will be here soon, so I'll be ready for that.
Heck yeah.
So introduce yourself and tell the world out there who you are and you know the type of dogs that you run and what your passion is, what drives you. You can go into how you got started or whatever, man. It's an open chalkboard.
Well, my name's Lane Williams, and I'm from Okie County, Oklahoma, and I got my start in coon dogs back when I was a little guy. My dad and my grandpa and my great grandpa. I think we figured it up one time. My boy, he's 8. He'd be the 6th generation coon hunter. So we've got, it goes way back in my family coon hunting with hounds, and so that's how I got started doing that. And now I have mountain curs, and I've raised them and do just about everything you can do with them. I do a little bit of deer recovery. We squirrel and coon hunt, and we got a couple that'll run just about anything that moves, and I do a little bit of competition hunting with squirrel and coon hunting, and just trying to raise my kids up in it and get them involved and keep it going. But I've had a terrier for a little while, and was doing that for a while, and I got her for deer recovery, but she kind of taught us about the whole ground game stuff. That wasn't really what I got her for, but she kind of, you know how that is. Sometimes the dogs take you a different route than what you planned on doing with them.
That's right.
Yes, indeed.
But I had her for a while. I actually ended up losing her. Not sure really what happened to her, but I really enjoyed doing that. We took her down to the Boars Nest and took her to the terrier trials and stuff, and did pretty good with her down there. And but I've been around lots of different types of working dogs. My dad's a police officer, and he raises and trains canines and trains canine officers, and I've learned a lot from him. You know, grew up around those types of working dogs too. So pretty much anything you can do with a dog, I'm all about it.
Amen. That's what we like, man. We like, especially diversity. You know, I like dogs that all around can do. I ain't gonna say can do it all, but they can do a lot. You know.
And that's what I like too. I mean, I think kind of when you do a whole bunch of different stuff with them, they're not really masters at any of it. You know, they kind of like a jack of all trade, master none type of dogs. But that's what I like. I've got one dog here that's I squirrel hunt with him, coon hunt with him, I decoyed coyotes with him, recovered deer with him. I mean, and there's probably better dogs in each category, but there's not a whole lot of them that can do all of it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So
I
that
love that.
mountain cur.
Yeah,
Is that what it
he's a
is?
mountain cur. Yeah, he's just a home CBA dog.
I got you. I was going to ask you what kind of lines is he off of, or
Yeah, he's at a um his mama was a backwoods boondock daughter. I'm not sure if you
yes, sir.
know her. He was off Tree Knocking Mike,
Mm-hmm.
and then actually the his daddy goes back to some of Kevin Callan's dogs that you've had him on before.
Oh yeah.
Buffalo River Sam. His daddy was out of Buffalo River Sam and Buffalo River Penny, which was two dogs that Kevin's dad had.
Yes, sir. Hey, I like those OMCBA dogs. We got
Yeah.
one still, the one old female. Actually, it was Jared McDonald's dog, and we've had her for years now, several years.
Oh yeah, Foxy.
And she'll treat coon pretty good, but she when she's on with the squirrels, man, I'm gonna tell you, you gonna load them up.
Yeah.
She is a meat
Heck
dog
yeah.
when she wants to be. She's getting on
That's
up
what
in
I
the
like
years.
about them. Yeah, I just lost a really good squirrel dog. He was um on up in age, and I ended up having to put him down. But he was a meat dog, man. He was always been my measuring stick on the squirrel dog.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good one. But
So you said y'all coon hunted. What kind of coon hounds are you running?
I don't have any hounds anymore.
Oh, okay, so you went all
I
curs.
yeah, I grew up hunting with hounds and pretty much all through my childhood and everything. When I moved out, there was a little stint when I was in college where I didn't have any tree dogs. I rodeoed in high school and college,
Mm-hmm.
and I had some cow dogs and stuff there for a while. And when I quit doing that and got my own place, I I got me a coon dog, started coon hunting again, and it was just a whole lot harder to find places to hunt where I live. The properties got busted up and all that, and kind of the same story as most people, And I got me a cur dog to something that maybe I could put a little better handle on and hunt them in little smaller tracks and stuff, and I just fell in love with them, and I've had them ever since, and raised my own now, and I like, cur dog was kind of a bad word with the guys that I grew up hunting around. They
Mm-hmm.
used that as a dog that wouldn't hunt or a dog that
Oh
stood
yeah.
around or something, but I kind of got lucky. The first cur dog I got that was my own, he was a good one. I mean, he had a ton of drive, and he wasn't going to check in. You cut him loose and he'd go as far as he had to, and had a big winding nose and stay treed all day long. And I really, I thought all cur dogs were kind of like that. I guess I didn't really, I didn't really know what I had. And then I took him to a couple competition hunts when he was older, and I was like, man, he's something special, And then I went down the rabbit trail trying to replace him, and it took a long time to try to find some dogs that were like that. And I've got some good ones now, but um, they're not all not all cur dogs. Are kind of the line I like to hunt are the ones that hunt kind of similar to a hound, but they've got a good enough range where you can put a handle on them.
Mm-hmm. Now, are they all the cur dogs you have now, Lane? Are they OMCBA dogs or Kimmers or what?
Yeah,
What are they?
all the cur dogs I've got are CBA dogs except for one,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got one that's half Walker dog, a quarter Stevens, and a quarter Mountain Cur,
Hmm.
and I really
Pretty
like her
interesting.
too. She's yeah, she got a lot of tree to her, and she's still young. I mean, I hadn't even put a season on her yet. She was born in November, I believe, so she'll be a year in November. So this season will be her first season, but she's been treeing squirrels and coon. I got her running loose right now, and she's been treeing like crazy for the past 2 or 3 months, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do this fall. But she's the only one I got that's not full blood mountain cur. She's the only mixed up one that I got,
Yes, sir.
and she's the only one that is not out of my dogs. But I had just had a friend of mine it was actually an accidental litter. He had a half Stevens and half mountain cur, and it was a young dog, and he had a Walker female that was a really nice coon dog. She was a lippy bred dog. She was out of Dr. Law. I don't know if you're familiar with Walker dog lines or not, but
A little bit.
um,
Not as familiar as I should be, or as I really need to be now. But I follow where you're at with it though, with the liquid bred
yeah,
dogs.
yeah. Dr. Law was a semen bred dog out of House's Lipper they bred him way after Lipper was dead, and then that female was off of Dr. Law, and she's a nice coon dog, and I knew she was, and it was kind of just a little project dog that he had that was half Stevens and half mountain cur, and he dug out of his pen and got in there and bred her, and it was an accidental litter, and he just give me one. He said, asked me if I want to try it, and I like cur dogs anyway, and I knew the hound was bred good, so I said, yeah, I'll try one of them. He gave her to me, and I think she's gonna be pretty nice. I really like
Good
her so
deal.
far.
So what age do you like to start your trees and stop? Or
Well,
do you
what
have
I
a set
do,
time?
no, I kind of just kind of let them show me when they want to start, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't hang on to them forever either. If they don't start doing something, by the time um, I give them usually till about the time they're a year old or so. But
Yeah.
where I'm at, uh, they get a lot of opportunity. So, and I let them run. I'm able to let them run loose and all that. So if they don't start here at my house, they probably ain't much count.
I got you.
And when I mean start, they don't have to be doing everything, but um, I've got some. We raise a bunch of animals around here. I've got some meat rabbits that are in pens that we move around in the yard and stuff, and we free range some hogs and stuff, and we got chickens and stuff. And if them dogs ain't getting into trouble around here, then they ain't got much game to them. They're not very gamey. When I let them run loose, the first thing they'll usually start doing is getting over there around them rabbits that are in them pens, and they'll start, barking at them rabbits and doing that, and then they'll start baying them hogs that are out there and stuff, and once they start treeing and stuff good, I'll start going to them and knocking a few squirrels out to them or something, and then when they get to where they're just usually like first couple times they tree, because I won't teach them to lead or nothing. They'll just be wild and I'll let them run loose. And first couple times they tree, I'll have to get them and carry them away from the tree, a little ways and put them
Yeah.
back down. And usually the first couple times they'll just follow me back to the house. But when I pull them off the tree and set them back down and they go get treed again, that's usually when I put them up and start taking them hunting.
I got
But
you. I was talking with a guy today, and he's still pretty new to the whole hunting with dogs deal, and I was explaining it to him. He's working some bay pen stock from hog dogs, and that's I was explaining to him. I was like, the letting them actually bay the hog is their reward. I said, if they
yeah.
make mistakes or they don't do anything, if they act like they're not interested, take and put them up, take the reward away from them. I said, but if they go in there and act like they're doing it, then let them bay it. I said that is their reward. He's like, oh, I said, yeah. I said, no matter what, that's their reward. You don't have to pet them and tell them good job or nothing. Like, I mean, we do, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you
Yeah.
don't have to. That's that natural drive and instinct. And just like you're talking about, once they get to where they're treeing and you take that little bit of what they want to do away from them and you put it up, you harness that and you shape it and mold it. And now they know, like, okay, when I get turned loose, this is what I need to do to have my fun and
Yep.
my enjoyment. And there's a lot of folks out there, they get it misconstrued on that, man. And it's so easy to hurt a puppy or to hinder a puppy by doing that.
Yeah. Once they get to that point where they're doing it regular like that, and I put them up, I don't want to put them up for very long. You know, I'll put them up and I'll start taking them consistent. You know, and a lot of times if it's at a point where, like if the weather's bad or it's middle of August or something, and you know, then I'll try to milk them through that running loose phase as long as I can until, because once I put them up, I want to be able to take them and go, you know. So I don't want to put them up in, you know, beginning of July and then not break them back out again until October. If they were really clicking and doing good, I'll try to milk them through that summer phase, letting them run loose and keep it on their mind. And then once I pin them up, I want to be able to take them regular.
That's what we're doing right now. We got a few of them that's really started clicking good. We're not getting to push them as much as we want to, but we're still taking. They're still getting the hunt, you know.
Right.
And it's just so daggum hot, you know.
And
it's really a bad time to put them up. So we're on a 50-50 deal, I guess you'd say. It's like I'm getting to hunt them about half as much as I really want to, but at the same time, I feel like if I put them up for too long, you know, I'm going to hurt them. You know, because right now they're so impressionable. Some of them are anywhere from say 8 months to a year old, and they're all firing, man. And like, you gotta run them.
Yeah. I don't like to let them, once they start doing that and firing, I don't like to put them up and let them get stagnant. I like to keep it on their mind, you know.
That's right. So how many dogs you got right now that you try to keep going on the yard?
Let's see. I think I've got 6 here that are mine, and then I've got a couple that I'm doing some stuff for other people. I got one here that I'm training for deer recovery. It's actually a lab, and I'm training it right now. I usually have 5 or 6 that are mine, and you know, I got 2 older. Well, I had 3. I just lost one. I had 3 older dogs, and I just lost one. So I got 2 older now, and then I got some young stuff that's off of them that I'm hunting. You know, they're just young dogs, and then I got a dog for somebody else right here now. But I try not to keep too many where I can't hunt them all. But
that's right.
I'm gonna try to raise some more pups off of these ones I got, and try to put them in the right hands of people that'll do them right, and kind of test them out, you know, and hopefully keep the line going.
That's right. Do you competition hunt the cur dogs?
Yeah. I competition squirrel hunt mainly, and then I go to some coon hunts too with them. I got that one dog that I was telling you about that I've done a little bit of everything with. He's done quite a bit of winning. I think I've won 3 state hunts with him and placed him in the top 10 of 2 world hunts, and he's a pretty nice, as far, you know, for being a combo dog like he is. He's done quite a bit of winning in multiple different types of hunts. I've done quite a bit of winning with him in PKC too, against hounds and stuff. So he'll, like I said, if I didn't let him do everything, he'd probably be a little bit better at some of them. But he does. I mean, he was known for being real trashy for around here for a long time. He caught a coyote one time. And
what is trash? Hunt. What do you mean? What do you mean when you say trashy?
Well,
I go to the side of the road.
You're talking about like a hog dog that'll grab a possum off of a bait pile and just run with it. Is that what you're talking about? Something like that?
Yeah, that'd probably classify. Yeah, he was in a competition. We were in a competition squirrel hunt one time, and he caught a coyote in the hunt.
Oh, hell.
Yes, I mean,
sounds like a good dog to me.
Yeah, he's treated gray fox and bobcats and I mean, pretty much everything that'll climb a tree that we've got here in Oklahoma, he's treated. And he, when he was young, he's kind of got a little bit more straight on me now. I kind of miss him than when he was younger. He was a lot more, you never knew what he was going to tree or get after. But
A lot of
I've had him
excitement.
catch, yeah, I've had him catch hogs in competitions when I'm not hog hunting. I've had him catch coyotes when we was squirrel hunting. But like I said, I do a whole lot more than just squirrel hunt with them. So
Mm-hmm.
I've lost several hunts where he was off doing something other than what we were hunting. And that, if he'd just be straight squirrel dog, then he'd probably be done a lot more winning.
Yeah.
But competition's not my main, goal. I just like having a dog that's got some drive and that'll hunt, and I want to be able to take my kids and kill squirrels with them, and so being competition minded is not my main goal. So
That's right.
I just go to the competition hunts to support them and to meet other people that are dog men and have the same type of hobbies that I got. And some of the best people I've met have been at competition hunts. And heck, there's my buddy, and we're kennel partners on some dogs too. His name's Dane England, and he only lived about probably 35 miles from me or so. And I met him at a competition hunt, and we lived fairly close, and that if it wasn't for that, I'd have never even met him. And now I consider him probably my best friend.
Wow.
And so that's why I go to him more for that. It's not really for, of course, nobody wants to show up to get beat, but
No.
but that's as far as like breeding and raising dogs and all that stuff. Competition is not my number one goal. I'm more of if the competition hunts disappeared tomorrow, I'm still going to hunt. It ain't going to slow me down, man.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. Now you said you like doing this, keeping all this going for your kids. How many kids do you have?
I've got two kids. I got a 13-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old boy.
Oh yeah, just right.
And my daughter, she's actually she's done quite a bit of winning in competition. She's a lot better competition hunter than I am, I guess. She's done pretty good. We took her to Lexington, Tennessee, to their youth PKC state hunt a couple years ago, and she got in the final four down there. And there was I couldn't even tell you how many dogs was there. There was a bunch. It was probably bigger than any hunt I'd ever been to, and she done good in that.
That's
She
good.
They always do pretty good at our youth hunt that we put on here, and she's kind of the last year or so she's kind of gotten to where she's growing out of a little bit on me. She's turned 13, and but my boy's getting into it now, so I'm hoping she'll circle back around to it one of these days, hopefully.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. My oldest girl, she done that. I think she came was probably about 14.
Yeah.
And she kind of got out of it, like we deer hunted and got this and that, and she's always fishing and hunting. Then she became a girl, and so all that quit. Now she's grown, married, and kids, and so if she wanted to come back and go hunting, I wouldn't charge her a whole lot.
Right.
But I got grandbabies now, so it's like now we get to do it again.
Yeah. A lot of the guys at them hunts, that have daughters that are older than mine and stuff, they all told me, you better enjoy it because she won't do it forever, and they were right to an extent. But we like to ride mules too, and we hunt off mules, and she's still into the mule stuff with me. She's got a mule out here that's hers, and she likes that still. So I hadn't completely lost her on all that stuff, but she just doesn't really like traipsing through the woods at night and fighting the spiders and ticks and all that stuff like she used to. She used to cut through the greenbriers like a jackrabbit, but she She kind of growed out of that a little bit.
I understand. I about growed out of it myself.
Yeah.
Them things will bite you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the mule thing, that's Nathan. Me and Nate's been talking about that, and
Oh yes.
I've never hunted off mules. Not in my adult life. When I was a kid, my uncle had some horses and he had a couple of mules, and we coon hunted off of them. But I was young. I was probably 8 to 10 years old, somewhere in there. But he's been talking about that with the mules, and man, the more people we talk to, the more it's really, really becoming a reality. It's like this might be what we need here in these hills.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Quick thanks to the supporters of the Dixie Doggers podcast.
Light Hounds.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties.
Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company.
777 Kennels Advanced Canine Nutrition.
And the old Boars N Broads.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I like hunting off a mule, and I mean it really will change the way you hunt. You can go right to your dogs a lot of times, and you can cover a lot of ground. And I mean, it's pretty much like, I do a lot of cast hunting, and when I'm casting, and walking to a dog, because we don't have, I end up hunting a lot of public land because our mile section stuff that's all private, it's hard to get permission on, especially during deer season. So, our public ground so far, luckily we haven't been kicked off of it really. We're only shut down for 9 days during rifle season. And so I hunt a lot of public land. Well, our public land here is along the river, and there's all the road systems kind of dead end at the river, and the land will go across it on the other side. It might be 3 miles deep, and you only might have a road that goes half a mile and stops, and then you got a mile and a half worth of public ground, and then a road on the other side. But you can't really road hunt or do anything like that if you cast your dogs and they get deep. I mean, there's really not you'd have to walk back to the truck and drive around to the other side of the river, and I mean, it's just easier just to walk. So on a mule, you can do that, and you can hunt longer and further, and the dogs ain't wearing you out. You wear them out with the mule.
Yeah, that sounds really good, for real.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I like it. But
anything in particular we need to look for? Like if we were going to try to start looking for a pair of mules to purchase.
Oh, it's just like dogs, I mean, you want to make sure you see somebody ride them and all that stuff. Don't take their word for it. It's like buying a dog under a tree or at a bay. Like with a mule, if I go somewhere to buy one, I want to see them, catch it from wherever it's living at and saddle it and ride it, do all that stuff. And if you're not planning on training it yourself, I mean, I'd want to see them catch it and saddle it and ride it and all that. Do them first, and then you ride it and see if you can get along with it, before you buy something. But
yeah,
I mean, and I'd probably try to, if you got somebody close that's knows something about them, take them with you and let them look at their feet, make sure they're not ill in any way or stuff like that. But usually, I mean, if you tell somebody that from the very beginning, like, I want to see you catch it and ride it and all that, I mean, if they're any kind of, if they're into mules, yeah, it'll cut out all that bullshit, and you'll be able to. They'll know if you're serious when you say all that, and they probably ain't gonna try to mess you around. But if a guy's willing to show him walking out in the pasture and catching him and saddling him and get on him and ride him, then you're probably pretty good.
I got you. Yeah, I think like for the first ones, it would probably be better just to buy one that's already doing what we need it to do, and then you can look into getting another one or something and training it possibly. But Cause like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about it myself, you know.
Yeah.
I'd have it all messed up. That poor old mule
Yeah.
be catching possums.
You can you can get if you're getting in, like, I like a smaller mule for hunting around here, but we got a lot of brush and stuff that it's easier to, like, I can ride a small mule down a deer trail or something. That's the type of mule I like. I don't want a big draft type mule or a 14, 15 hand mule. I mean, uh, the bigger they are, usually the more money they are, and you can get a small mule for pretty affordable. Usually the one that's riding and stuff. Now they might not do everything, but if you just get one that's gentle and it's not real spooky or nothing like that, and they ride good, they might not neck rein and spin a hole in the ground and all that, but you can get a good solid mule that's broke and you can catch it and saddle it and ride it and all that. And I mean, you could probably get one for $25,000, $30,000, that you can get along with pretty good.
I got you. Yeah, see that to me that's feasible,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then all the other stuff, like getting them used to putting a hog on them or shooting off of them or all that stuff. I mean, you can kind of ease them into that stuff yourself, um, but just getting one that's not wild, and you can find them fairly reasonable. I mean, anywhere from, as long as they're under 14 hands, they're not usually crazy expensive.
Okay. I didn't know the size had that much to do with determines as that much on pricing.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense though. Yeah.
You can get you can have a little bitty mule that's 12, 13 hands, and you can shoot off of him and make him jump in the back of the truck and all that stuff. He can be as fancy as you want. He's still a little mule. They're not gonna he's not gonna sell for 30 grand like a big 16 hand mule that does all that you could ride in Colorado in the mountains, and he can wade through 3 foot of snow and all that type of stuff and pull a wagon. And those type of mules are going to be a lot more money than a little hunting mule that you're just going to ride through the oak brush or whatever. They're not near as much money.
Okay. So that's a lot of stuff I had no idea about there. I'm glad we got to talk about that part.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better anyway, because because the whole time I've talked to a few people and they're like, man, for a good one, you're looking at 10 grand or better. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely spend 10 grand on them and all them up. I mean, we have a big mule sale here in Oklahoma. They have one twice a year in the spring and in the fall, and it's called the Ada Mule Sale, and they have like a trail ride obstacle course type deal that they put all the mules that are in the catalog in it, and if you're buying, you can come up there and watch the course and all that stuff, and I mean, you can spend pretty much all you want to spend at that sale. But those littler mules that are just they're good broke and they're gentle and they don't have no spook or nothing like that to them, they're not wild and they don't kick or nothing. If they're small and they're just kind of just a mule, you can get them fairly cheap. Now, the more stuff more bells and whistles you put on, the more they go up. But you can get a hunting mule that you could get along with for an affordable price. You really can.
Yes, sir. That's pretty cool. But, so when you first got into the dog, I mean, you said you're a generational dog guy. Your family's had coon dogs for forever.
Yeah.
What's your, like? Give us a little rundown on what's your earliest hunt that you can remember. Man, we people love good stories and stuff, but I was just curious. What's your earliest hunt that you can remember? And
my grandpa, the very first gift that he ever bought for any of us grandkids was a coon dog, and the very first coon dog I ever got was a blue tick, and I named him Friday, and he wasn't really worth a shit, really. He didn't turn out to be very good at all, but I think I ruined him when he was young, but anyway, one of the early memories of taking him hunting that I remember is our dogs um, they got a coon bait in a creek bank hole, and Friday wasn't very old. He was probably 4 months old, and we'd let him go along, and them dogs had gotten that creek bank hole and was trying to get this coon out of there, and that coon was whooping them, and them walker dogs, what we had, the rest of them, and they would just kind of stick their head in that hole and be bawling at that coon, but they wouldn't really grab a hold of it. And then I kept telling my dad, let me put Friday in there, you know. My dad was like, no, you're gonna get that pup eat up, and he ain't gonna want nothing to do with the coon. He's too little, you know. And I was like, oh, let me put him in there, you know. He'll go in there and get him, you know. I kept on and on. And finally, Dad was like, well, put him in there, and I stuck his head in that hole, and you know, he didn't know what it was. He just kind of started easing in there, smelling. He smelt that coon, and it was curious to him. He didn't know what it was, and he eased in there far enough that coon reached out there and grabbed him, and he went to squalling, and the coon balled up on his head, and my dad grabbed that dog by the tail and pulled him out of that hole, and that coon was on his head, you know. And of course, then all the dogs jumped on it, and that dog absolutely hated a coon after that. He was a fighter, and he wasn't worth the shit for hunting, but he would sit by us when we'd turn the other dogs loose, and he'd kind of stand around. And as soon as he heard a tree bark, boy, he'd take off to the tree, and he'd be there ready. Yeah, he'd be there ready for you to knock one out to him, because he loved to fight one. And as I got a little older, and I wanted a dog that would go and hunt and stuff, my dad always liked to keep him around, because back then we didn't have tracking systems, and they were around, but we didn't have one. But my dad liked him because he stayed right there by us, and if the dogs got treed, he went to the tree. But if they didn't tree, he stayed right there by us, and he had a huge mouth. And if the dogs had been gone for a long time, of course, all our dogs kind of packed together back then. They weren't independent like they are now. And if he got ready to go to a different spot or got ready to go home and the dogs weren't treed yet, he could just shake a limb on a tree and squall like a coon, and old Friday just go to blowing the top out of it, treeing, and all them dogs would come back.
He called them all in. There you go.
Yeah, so he was our dog that called all the rest of them back in, and my dad never did want to get rid of him because of that, because he liked the way he was. He was our tracking system, so to speak. But
that's pretty damn handy, really. You know.
Yeah, he had a big pulling mouth. I mean, you could hear him for probably 2 miles. I mean, he just a huge blue dog mouth. And
so the comparison now that, you know, with these cur dogs, have, you know, what's the difference in the mouth on them versus the hounds that you've had in the past? Is there any comparison? Are they even close?
You know, it's kind of weird, because some of these cur dogs, like when you hear them, their mouth doesn't sound real impressive, but they've got a pitch that carries just as far. You know, you would think hearing them, when you hear, you know, like a big hound mouth, and it sounds like it's blowing your eardrums out when you're out there by it, but it seems like some of these cur dogs, you can hear them pretty good ways if they got a good pitch. Now, there's a lot of them that don't have the mouth, but they hunt a lot different. They cut the woods up a lot more, so they don't get as far out usually. You know, that they're more apt to get treed closer than a hound, you know, that's gonna be a little more rangy and hunt a little more straight line, or pick up one certain track and drive it forever. You know, where these hounds will kind of move around or the cur dogs will move around with their head up a little bit more and cut the woods up and kind of find a coon in a closer area, so they don't need usually that big of a mouth.
Yeah.
But and my dogs will check in too. You know, I hunt, you know, off the mules and stuff like that, so they'll kind of make big loops around me and check in some, and I don't really mind that. A lot of people don't want them to check in at all. They want them to just go, you know, forever until they find one. But I kind of like them to check in a little bit.
Yeah.
And in the competition hunts, a lot of times, you know, since they don't have the biggest mouth, like if I'm hunting in a a PKC hunt and I'm hunting against hounds, and if in Rex, my main dog that I competition hunt the most, he's really independent, but he will check in. So if all the hounds go left, he'll probably go right, but he's not going to go right forever. If he don't come across something, he'll make a loop and come back by. And if we cut loose and the hound just blows through the country and starts getting deep and we have to start walking that way, I don't have to worry about him going the complete opposite direction and getting totally out of pocket. I mean, he's going to come back around and he'll get treed as we're walking to another dog, or he'll get treed on the way or off to the side or something. I can tree him as we're going to another one or whatever, but they kind of check in a little bit, kind of know where you're at. Now, if he gets on something, he's not going to quit it to check in, but if he's making a big loop and he ain't hit nothing, he'll come back by me and make a loop on the other side,
That's cool.
But,
That's cool. So do you hog hunt any now?
No,
Or you just running tree dogs still mostly?
No, I don't really hog hunt, but I do have hogs here like that I free range and here on my place. But I don't, and I'll go with I got some friends that hog hunt. I'll go with them, but I don't have any necessarily hog dogs. Even though he does he does bay hogs pretty often. I mean, he's only about 35 pounds and I mean, hogs don't really run from him, they just stand there and so I've had him.
Hogs will stay with that smaller dog. A lot of times they'll just stand there,
Yeah.
They don't feel as threatened by
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I give some of my buddies that hog hunt a hard time. They'll talk about how much these dogs run and everything, and I'm like, well, my little 35-pound squirrel dog bays them all the time. but they ain't threatened by him. They'll just stand there.
Yeah.
And they usually don't break until they see me coming or smell me coming or whatever. But I've got a bulldog here too that he's pretty piggy. I mean, he'll catch and he's gaming. He trees squirrels and everything else. He's pretty gamey little dog too. I say little. He's the biggest dog I got. But
oh yeah. I
he's
more
he's
people
about
actually.
60.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just said he's about 65-pound bulldog.
Good size. Good size. But you're just talking about him, treeing squirrels and stuff like that. Man, if more people would actually just utilize the dog that's in front of them, like say a good little bulldog or something, they would really be surprised at how much game that little bulldog can produce.
Oh yeah, man. I haven't been around a whole lot of bulldogs. I mean, as far as compared to a guy that's hog hunted their whole life or whatever, I haven't been around a whole lot of them. But this one that I've got now, I mean, he really surprises me. I mean, I've had him. He's got a great nose. I've been riding my mule or something, and he's going alongside me, and all of a sudden he'll throw his head up and run 200 yards and start treeing on a squirrel, which he don't bark. I mean, he'll bark when he first runs one up a tree or when he first hits the tree, but then he'll go right to chewing, and he will not leave. I mean, he'll chew the sumbitch down if you don't go get him. He'll. I mean, you can tell if he's been there very long, he'll have the bark chewed off all the way around it.
Hell yeah.
but he's gamey. It surprised me how much honey's got in it. I've never raised a bulldog until him, and I got him after I lost my jag that I had, because I had a little jag that my family just got crazy attached to, and she was a great dog, and she got herself killed, and I ended up getting a little bull, or I say little. I got a bulldog, and to kind of replace her, and I figured he was going to be a lot less likely to get himself killed. So I didn't think my family could go through another one of them. So I didn't get another jag because they got so attached, and she got herself killed, and that was pretty rough on the young ones. So.
I bet. If them little rascals can get themselves in a bind.
Oh yeah, she was
What was she out of?
an awesome little dog. She was out of William Burns' Rufus dog,
I wouldn't even
and
tell nobody that.
and yeah, and the bitch she was out of was come from Marc Allison.
Oh yeah. Well, Marc's had some fine them blood
I
tracking
can't remember
dogs.
what her name was.
Max and I was trying to think of his first ones. I remember Max. God almighty, it's
Yeah,
been so
he
many
still
years.
got Mac. I can't remember what
Max
the
got to be
female's name
what,
is.
10 years old? Somewhere in there?
I don't know. He's got a litter off of him right now, I think.
Yeah, I seen where he was going to have a litter. What is that female's name?
It's the older one was the one that.
Yeah, but I know exactly who you're talking about. But anyway, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Oh, Rufus throws some really good pups too. He
yeah.
One of the best pups that I've ever had. And generally, I only had what we produced, for years and years and years, decades. And the last one that I had come from Rufus. I mean, yeah, out of Rufus and who was it? Jacob's Heidi dog or Hildy, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, Jacob Zachary's female. Yeah. You talking about smart, that little dog Doc. I carried him, I put him on 4 tracks and he found all 4. And I'm talking about I don't know, he was, the first one I put him on, he was just a few weeks old. Say 3 or 4 months old. And then by the time deer season started, I think he was 7 or 8 months old when he got killed. But I put him on 3 more back to back to back, and he was so natural. And sure enough, man, he got dead killed right there at prime time. And I hadn't had another one. I hadn't had another pup since. I said, man, that was one of the most natural ability dogs I've seen.
That's the way mine was. I called her Beth. She was Beth Dutton's what I named her.
Yeah.
But she I like a versatile dog, and my wife had went through a whole bunch of little lap dogs that she had in the house that I hated, and she kept getting them from puppy mills and stuff, and she had this one that was a little long-haired Chihuahua, and I work for the fire department, and I'll be gone 24 hours, and every time I'd come home, we'd had this dog for months, and every time I'd come home, she'd bark at me like she'd never seen me in her life. And it just aggravates the shit out of me, And
oh yeah.
One day it was in the dead of winter, and we were having just a crazy snowstorm, and I'd been home all day long with that dog, and we let it out to go to the bathroom, and it's snowing. I mean, just horrible weather. And it come back to the door, scratched on the door to want back in. I got up to open the door to let it in, and it just started raising hell, barking at me like it'd never seen me before. And I just let it outside.
Damn.
And I got so mad. I walked back, I shut the door, left it outside, and walked back to my recliner. And it come back to the door, started scratching on the door again. And I walked over there and opened the door and said, "Come on in," And it just went to raising hell like it'd never seen me before in its life. And after about 4 or 5 rounds of that, my wife got up and let it in, and she's like, "I don't know who's dumber, you or the dog." But I told her, I said, that thing's gonna have to go, or something's gonna happen to it.
That's aggravating, man.
Yeah,
I've been in that position with dogs before.
Yeah, and she got rid of it, and I finally talked her into. I said, "Why don't you let me get you a dog, and I'll pick out something, and I'll get you a dog, and it'll be something that I can give it a job, and it can stay in the house and be your little lap dog too, and I'll see if I can find something that we can both get along with." And she agreed to it. And I was doing a lot of deer tracking at the time, and I thought I'd seen some of them Jags tracking. I thought, man, I'm gonna get me one of them for her. And I run across Marc, and he was doing a whole bunch of tracking with his, and he had a litter, and I got on the list for one, and I got her, and man, she was awesome. I mean, she fit exactly what I wanted. I gave her tons of jobs, and I mean, I tracked deer with her, and she introduced me to the ground game, and I'd never done that before. My kids loved it. I mean, we dug her out of so many different little, creek bank holes and armadillo holes and rabbits and possums and coons and whatever. I mean, my kids loved digging to her. And I took her duck hunting, and I shot ducks, and she retrieved ducks. And I mean, she was game for whatever you wanted to do. And then you could bring her in the house, and she'd turn it all off and just sit in my wife's lap and just be the perfect little dog. And then she ended up getting herself killed. But I mean, she was awesome. I really liked her.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Not
Yeah,
when you got them like that.
yeah. I mean, she had all the game that you could want, and all the drive and hunt, and just the best off switch I've ever seen on a dog that was that driven. I mean, she could just turn it right off. But I mean, anything that moved. I took her to the terrier trials when she's about 8 months old, and I put her in some of them events, and of course she caught out on the hog bay. She didn't do no good in that, and put her on some of the other stuff. But she won the go to ground in the puppy class, and I mean, just done great. I mean, she blew through that tunnel and she'd never seen nothing like that. I didn't. Most of our holes here that she had been in, they're not. I don't know how long that tunnel is, but shit, it's probably 30 foot long or something.
Yeah.
And she just blew through that thing like it wasn't no thing. And I didn't know how she'd do, but she was a good little dog. But I always said if you put her on a grizzly bear, she'd go in there and get herself killed. And
Yep.
I think she got in a coyote den. I think's what killed her. But
Yeah, that sounds about right. Now, did you ever decoy with her?
no,
Never did
I
with her?
never took her. I never took her decoying. I was going to. I didn't have her real long. She was about a year and a half old when she got killed, and I was just the timing of the first summer that I had her. She wasn't really big enough yet, and then she got killed really before I had a chance to on the second time. But um, I think she would have. I mean, she was but she was only about 18 pounds. She was on the small side, so um. But I know for a fact she wouldn't have been scared of one. I mean, she'd have went right to one, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what got her killed. But she,
Yeah, probably so.
I about 2 or 3 weeks before she got killed, she got in a culvert under a road, and I had a GPS tracking system on her, and I lost connection with her, and it was showing like about 40 yards off the road. And man, I circled around in that spot where it was showing forever and couldn't find her and couldn't find no, I found several holes, but none of them looked fresh or like she'd been digging or nothing. And anyway, long story short, it took me about probably 3 or 4 hours of looking before I finally realized she was literally like right underneath where my truck was parked.
Damn.
And she was under the road the whole time, and I was off the side of the road looking where the GPS tracker was showing her last connection. Of course, when they go underground, you lose them.
Yeah, you're gonna
And
lose them immediately there.
yeah, and anyway, I ended up hearing her in that culvert under the road, and I ended up having to dig down through the road and get a bring a generator out there and get an angle grinder, and I ended up having to cut a damn hole in that culvert to get her out.
Damn.
She's in there forever. It ended up being like a 6-hour ordeal. But
Yeah.
what I was getting at is she wasn't going to come out of nowhere. Once she got in somewhere, I think
Lord,
she'd
no.
stayed in there forever. And she ended up just going off somewhere here from the house and never came back.
I've had a couple do that. Had one named Dixie. She was bred up. and I've been trying to do this breeding forever. Got her bred up, and I was like, she got out. When I'd let her out, she'd run around the yard, And man, she just
Yeah.
didn't come back. And I was like, man, she always comes back about dark. I said, well, she might have jumped something and run it for a while. She'll be back tomorrow. She never did come back, man. And I was disheartened because I was like, well, I got thinking, I was like, she could have been having them puppies and something went wrong, I felt bad, but at the same time, she did it herself. And then I had another one named Dizzy, and we were hunting, and we'd got on a hog. We got him off the hog. We dispatched the hog and all that. Let him roll out, and they all went up on the side of this mountain. And it's only we actually looked at the elevation the other day when you went down to the Bobcat Den up there. It was like around 300 feet.
Yeah.
It's big enough to be, it's a small mountain. Anyway, so I'm watching the dog come around the side of the mountain, and he's hunting. Well, I turn around and I look over here. Well, Garmin vibrates, says he's treed. So we start walking up there, and I kept looking around. I said, man, I don't see him up here. We got closer, and finally I was standing right on top. Never did find him. It's cold country where we live at. So the only thing I can figure is there's either a ventilation shaft or something he fell in and I didn't see it, because never did find the collar, never found the dog, never nothing. And I went back down there, I bet you 20 different times, and I was like, man, this is so crazy how these dogs can just get themselves in these positions.
Oh, yeah.
But they're tough.
Yeah.
They're rugged, durable.
Yeah, I searched for weeks for her. Everybody that was been around terriers a lot longer than me, they was like, don't give up on her. She might come dragging up, just poor as hell a week later, and I kept looking and kept looking and kept looking and never did find her. But she was kind of weird what she would do. Like, I let her run loose. She ran loose around here just like all my other dogs did forever. And when I didn't have a tracking collar on her, she would go get into stuff, but she never did bite off more than she could chew. Usually she would, come dragging back up to the house with a she'd have a possum or a rabbit or something that she'd got after. But if I ever put a tracking collar in her, it seemed like she always went and got in something where I had to dig her out. As soon as I put a tracking collar on her, she's like, she knew she could go wherever she wanted and I'd come get her. Mm-hmm. And she got smart to that. Well, I actually bred her, and I had some guys that were telling me like, man, she's doing so good, and she's you need to breed her because those dogs, a lot of them don't last very long, so you need to breed her. Well, I took her back up there to William's house, and he bred her to, I can't remember what the dog's name was, but it was the son of Rufus that he had. And
I got you.
I bred her, and she was getting ready to have pups, and I put her in the kennel, first time she'd ever been in one in her life. And she did not like being in that kennel. She got just wound up, in that kennel, because she could go, she hunted every day. I mean, she might be running a rabbit out here around my garden or whatever, but she hunted every day. And when I put her in that kennel, she got a little bit wound up, and I got home from work one day and I let her out, and she just went hunting, and I didn't have the tracking collar on her. Mm-hmm. And that's how I lost her. And I really think putting her in that kennel is what caused it, because she just had so much pent up energy. Normally she wouldn't do that unless I put a tracking collar on her, but that was what had changed, is she had went from running loose and being able to burn all that energy off to I pinned her up. And the only reason I pinned her up is because I wanted to put her in that kennel and get her used to it, and I was going to let her have them puppies in there, and I wanted her to be used to being in it before she had them. And she just got so much energy that when I let her out, she was gone. Hell, I don't know what she may run a damn deer. She may still be running. I don't know.
Yeah, there ain't no telling. They could be. Man, they're so resilient. Like I said, they're durable. I've had them where they were gone for 2 weeks, and like you said, they'll come dragging up. Done lost so much weight. You look at them like, oh my god! And hey, they ready to go hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they love it.
she was a good little dog. She was the only jag I ever had, but she sure was. She was a good one. I figure I probably better not get another one because I'll probably be disappointed.
Yeah, and that can very well happen. That can happen. So you run the cur dogs? You decoy with them?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I've got a couple here that I've decoyed with, and Rex, my male dog. Like I said, I've done everything with him. He took right to it. I was that was another thing I just kind of fell into. Was got into the competition squirrel hunting, and I normally didn't ever uh I didn't never really squirrel hunt much in the summertime. I always coon hunted all through the summer, and then when the leaves had come off, I'd squirrel hunt. Well, I got into the competition hunting, and we had our first hunt, I think, was in like September. So
Oh, a lot of leaves.
I was, yeah, so I was hunting in the summer trying to get my dog in shape, and the damn coyotes kept, my dog would get treed, and the coyotes would come in there and run him off the tree, and they'd run him all the way back to me.
Mm.
And I got to posting some videos of it uh, on Facebook, and somebody said something about decoy dogs, and I looked into it, and I was like, shit, that looks like what I need to be doing in the summertime instead of squirrel hunting, So I took Rex out there and put a coyote call out, and started calling some coyotes, and he took to it like a duck to water, man. He loved it, and I quit messing with squirrels through the summer, and I decoyed hunted with him all summer, and then I think that September hunt rolled around, finally got to it, and I put him in it, and that was the one he caught that coyote in. And now there's some guys, that I think I posted something about it on one of them decoy dogging pages, and somebody said, "Oh, there ain't no cur dog that can catch a coyote." But I got proof. There was three other guys on the cast with me. We walked in there, and I had to walk in there just like he was going to go in there and leg a hog down or something. He had that coyote caught, and I had to go in there and split him up, and get him by the collar. And the coyote was still alive, but he had him down.
That's
And
good shit there.
them guys was like, "That's the craziest shit I ever seen. Never seen no dog catch a damn coyote in a squirrel hunting cast."
Mm.
And yeah, he's pretty gamey, and he's caught hogs in competition too. Ain't nothing to brag about because I think every time it's ever happened, I've got beat. But but
Well, he's getting busy. He's getting some work in anyway.
oh yeah,
Meat dog.
yeah, he's gonna go do something even if it's wrong.
That's right. That's what I like. I like just do something.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Dog Hunters Association, we were talking about earlier, give us a little bit of info on that and what all you guys do there.
So the Oklahoma Dog Hunters Association, I'm the president of the Northeast chapter, and I-40 and I-35 kind of splits our state into four quadrants, and the Northeast chapter will be north of 40 and east of I-35, and basically we just have a membership, and it's the it pays for us to go to the Capitol and lobby against any kind of laws that are coming out that are not going to be good for houndsmen or any kind of hunting rights really in general. And then we also have a attorney that's can help you if you get your dog shot or something like that. And we also put on some events, and normally like we have the Dog Hunters Expo, and we just started this deal where each chapter is having their own expo, is what we call it, and they'll have a big it'll be like a hog hunt, a squirrel hunt, a coon hunt. They'll have a bench show, equestrian contest, all that stuff all in one event. And everybody try to bring all the houndsmen together and have food, and they give away buckles and have a bunch of sponsors there and food trucks and all that type of stuff, and just try to make a big event out of it where we bring everybody together and just kind of try to give back to the houndsmen a little bit. And but we just started that, and each chapter is kind of having like a little bit of a friendly competition to try to throw a bigger expo than the other chapters.
Yeah, I got
And
you.
each chapter will have one a year of them. And but we're also they also try to support any kind of like youth stuff that's going on. Like they donated door prizes and stuff to the PKC youth hunt that we just recently had, and in the Northeast chapter and stuff like that. But it's a good organization. I mean, I encourage anybody that's a houndsman to support it. And they also partner with other dog hunters associations. If they have some kind of legislation that they're fighting or something, they'll support them and back them on it too.
Yep. Do y'all have any y'all got any new bills or laws or anything that y'all working on trying to get changed, or they got any new ones coming in? Or
we actually just done some good on one. There was a bill that passed that was going to require out-of-state hunters to check in on public land, and it passed. And then when the wildlife department put it out, they had where all the in-state hunters had to check in too. So anytime you was going to go on public land and hunt, you'd have to get on the Oklahoma Wildlife Department app and check in and let them know that you was going to be there.
that's what we have to do.
Yeah, and the way it was presented in legislation, it was just going to be for out-of-staters. And when it passed, or when they actually put it through and it was for everybody, the ODHA contacted them and the senators and stuff and said, hey, this isn't how this was presented and whatnot. And they actually took it down. We had all the members, we sent out blasted an email and on Facebook letting all the members know what was going on, told them to contact the senators and let them know that we didn't want that and everything. And everybody came together and shook it all up, and they ended up taking it down the same day that they put it out. So
Man,
that was good.
That's good. There's too many people. They don't think. What they think is they're like, well, I'm just one person. We ain't going to make a difference. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Look at Florida. They got a training season for bear this year, and then they'll have their first hunting season that they've had in over a decade next year. They gained all that ground back by the dog hunters associations and everybody sticking together and going and voicing their their concerns and stuff and voting for. If we don't get together and show up, then we'll never do any good.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing that we're doing with the expos that we just started them. Last year was the first one that we did, and we're trying to get, the expos aren't really to make money or to do anything like that. The expos are to bring everybody together and show them what the ODHA is doing, so that we can get a bigger, membership. So when it comes time to fight that type of stuff, we can. And our goal is to grow to where instead of being on the defense all the time, we're on the offense, and we can start fighting to gain some of the rights back that's already been taken from us. Like Ed was talking at our last meeting about wanting to try to start getting where we can run deer in Oklahoma again, because that's one that we lost. And we'd like to transition from being on the defense to being on the offense and trying to gain some of that stuff back.
That'd be great.
I know the hog hunting is another one that they took where we can't hog hunt on public land at all. So that's another one that we'd like to get back to, where you can do it on private land, but on public land you can't.
That we've got certain seasons that you can gun hunt, but you can't run dogs at all on public land. On private land you can.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I should have clarified that. But yeah, you can hog hunt on the public lands, but not with dogs. You can't be on the public lands with dogs at all. And I don't understand that. I mean, they allow dogs on there for squirrel hunting and coon hunting and all that other stuff, but they don't let them hog hunt. So I don't understand why that is. But
that's like my biggest deal as well. It's like, man, I if it was no dogs allowed, period, I don't think it would bother me near as much. I'd be like, okay, so it's fair.
Yeah.
But in the way it is, it's like, okay, well, you can go over here and coon hunt tonight, but we can't hog hunt.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
But
no, it doesn't at all. I don't understand it either. And a lot of our public ground is overran with hogs, because it becomes a safe haven for them, because you can't run dogs on there, and you put pressure on them all around it, and that's where they go to get away from it.
That's right. That's exactly right. They do the same thing here. That's where you'll have pockets of public land that there's a huge population of hogs, but you can't do anything about it.
They try to go in with right, and they even try to go in with the helicopters and stuff, but I mean, them hogs have gotten smart to that, where they're squatting on them now, and they ain't even flushing out of the timber so they can shoot them.
See, here we don't have any places that are really that open. If they did get them flushed up, you know what I mean? It's like most of the fields and stuff here, unless you're talking South Alabama, where there's more agriculture, but it's still the majority of the state is heavily wooded.
Yeah.
And to me, it would be just a waste of fuel.
Right.
I don't know. I don't get to make a lot of those decisions, but I need to definitely need to be have more aptitude about it, and stay more up to date on any changes, any bills or laws or changes to any of those, and be able to voice my opinion on it.
Right. Yeah. Most of our public ground is either around a waterway of some kind that'll be core land, or it'll be land that they can't use for nothing else. So a lot of times it's got a ton of timber or something on it. A lot of our land is on both sides of the river, and they can't turn that into cow pasture, because then they'll have an erosion problem. So they have to leave that timber and stuff there, and so then it's public hunting. But so that's where them hogs go. Everywhere around it's cow pasture, and the farmers are putting a shit ton of pressure on them, and they go right down there into that river bottom where you can't run dogs on them.
But it's wild that they even have those type laws at all. To me, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. Just don't.
I don't either.
So you got what kind of good stories you got for us? Some good hunting stories that you've done lately with these tree dogs.
Oh shoot!
Or the decoying, or whatever you've been doing lately.
Man, I've been messing with these pups lately. I've got a pup out of two dogs that I raised. It'd be my second generation of these dogs that I've got, and she's doing really good. I've been really excited about her. She started treeing squirrels here around the house at like 3 months old, so I'm fired up about her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got that other dog I was telling you about that's quarter Stevens and quarter Mountain Curs. She's been doing good, and that's pretty much about all my time's been going into them um, all summer long. Since last winter, and then our competition season starts back up again in November. So I'll be taking Rex to some of them again. I'm got some goals I'm trying to accomplish with him as far as winning, and if I can get them done, I'll move on to this next generation and start hunting these pups off of him in some of the competitions.
Hell yeah. So how many competitions do you think you normally hunt per year?
Well, we have our club here that we usually have about 5 hunts a year that are open to anybody, and there'll be coon hunt and squirrel hunt. So we'll have like a coon hunt on Friday night and then a squirrel hunt on Saturday morning, and we have 5 of them a year. And then all the money that we raise through those hunts goes to a youth hunt that we put on at the end of the season, which is usually like right around March. It's usually the last weekend in March. And it started out as just a squirrel hunt, but it's kind of turned into like a youth camp kind of for kids. We have on Friday night, we have a coon hunt. We take the kids coon hunting, and it's not a competition. It's just pleasure hunting, and we have anybody local that's got a good coon dog comes out there, and we split all the kids up evenly into groups, and we take them coon hunting. And the reason we don't do a competition is because we let them shoot the coons out and do just we just introduce them to coon hunting with a dog, and then we go back to the camp and build a fire and feed them and do all that stuff and let all the kids play. And then Saturday morning we'll have a competition squirrel hunt, and we take them out on that. And then when we get back from the squirrel hunt, we have a water race where we'll put a caged coon on like a pulley system that runs across the water, and they put them dogs in like a starting gate, kind of like they do horse races, and they let them see that coon, and then they'll drag it across the water, and then the dogs will swim across the water and then go up a tree on the other side. And the kids, they love that. They get fired up over that and get to see them dogs swimming and all that stuff. And then we have a treeing contest, and then we have a ton of door prizes too. I think last year we had like $2,500 worth of door prizes that just various things from 22s to, I think the highest value thing we had was like a Garmin Alpha that we gave away, and then all the way down to like coon squallers and little stuff like that. But every kid that shows up gets something, and but our club hunt that we do, all the money that we raise goes to that event. And I go to all of them, so that's 6 hunts a year, the 5 that we put on, and plus the youth hunt. And then the organization that I hunt in the most is NSD, and I'll go to the World Hunt every year. And then I also hunt in PKC, which is primarily a hound organization. Any dog can really hunt in it, but it's hound dominant, so there's not very many cur dogs that hunt in it. But I hunt in it in that, and my little dog, he's a night champion in that. And but I'll probably go to, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them a year. And then I hunt UMCA hunts, which is the United Mountain Cur Association. It's cur only, and it's the closest world hunt that's to me, is the reason I go to it. And I don't hunt in any of the regular season hunts because they're not any close, but their world hunts in Hazen, Arkansas, and it's only about 5 hours from me. So I go to that one, and I done pretty good at that one last year. I had Rex he was like one coon shy. He treated coon just right after the time was up, and if he'd have treated just a little bit quicker, he would have been in the finals of the coon hunt. And then I placed him ninth in the squirrel hunt. So he and if he would have been in the finals of the He was the only dog that was in the coon hunt that made the top 10 of the squirrel hunt. So if he'd have been in the finals of that coon hunt, the one that he missed by just one coon, he would have been the world combo champion. So he just barely missed a really good title on that one.
Yeah, that's a real good title there. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's a solid dog.
yeah, and I really like that one. It's a good organization and good people and stuff, and it's about 5 hours from me, so I go to that one too. And then OMCBA is another organization that we have two hunts. Two of our 5 hunts that we have are OMCBA sanctioned, and I'll go to Jamestown, Tennessee for that world hunt too. So I go to the NSD World, the UMCA World, and the OMCBA World every year, and then plus the 5 hunts that we host, and then our youth hunt, and then a few PKC hound hunts. So I don't know, I'll probably go to about 15 to 20 hunts a year, something like that.
Dang. That's staying
Not,
pretty busy.
yeah, I mean it is, and it ain't. I mean it is. I feel like it is, but the guys that are dominant and real serious about it, I mean, shit, they're going to one every weekend. You know, they're a whole lot more. Like my wife, she thinks I'm a competition hunter, but she don't know that. Like she thinks I go a lot, but the guys that really go a lot, they're going twice as much as I do.
That's right.
So
I know we got on a tear for a while, man. We were going to every event, every event that we can make, and it was like, God almighty, dude, it was on the road nonstop. And we were still only doing probably 75% of it, maybe. And I was like,
yeah,
how these guys that do every one of them, like, how in the world do they do this?
yeah,
It takes a lot of dedication.
There's two different types of dogs when it comes to the competition hunting, and they have those organizations will have different races, and they usually have like a state hunt and a state race, and the state hunt will be double points, and then all the hunts that they have in the state during the regular season count towards a state race. So like our club has 5 in Oklahoma, and there's 2 other clubs. So just say there's 15 hunts in Oklahoma, and then plus the state hunt. So they'll take the dog that accumulates the most points out of those 15 hunts, and that'll be your state race winner. And then they also have a breed race winner, which would be the dog that accumulates the most points in that breed. And then they have what they call the dog of the year, and that's the dog that accumulates the most points of all the breeds combined. So that's like that's the king dog there, the one that wins the most out of everything combined, all the states combined, all the breeds combined, everything. And those to me, there's kind of 2 different types of dogs. Those dogs that win those races, the state races and the dog of the year and that type of stuff, those are the dogs that they go to every hunt, every weekend. I mean, they're hauling them somewhere all the time. They pretty much live in a dog box unless they're turned loose in the hunt. Mm-hmm. And it takes a special kind of dog to be able to handle that, And then there's a type of dog that can compete with any dog on a given day. Like if it's a good day and it's his type of terrain and his whatever, he can be a superstar. And that's kind of the way my dog is. Like if it's the fall and the squirrels are good and whatever, squirrels are stirring, there's a lot of them out there, like he can be as good as any. But if I go to hauling him up and down the road every day to every hunt there is all across the country and stuff like that, he's not gonna be the same dog every day. And generally those type of dogs have a little more hound influence to them. They're a little more they handle that type of stuff a little better. The cur dogs are a little more finicky type of dog, those. And you get a good cur dog on a good day, and he may just whip the pants off of some of them hounds but in the long game of being hauled up and down the road all day long and every weekend all year long. And hounds are tough to beat, or the ones that have hound influence. And in NSD, you can hunt anything. They have a DNA registry, and you can breed a July to a Chihuahua if you want to, and single register it and raise pups off of it, and they DNA everything, and they have a Feist division, which is dogs that are 18 inches and smaller. They have a cur division, and then they have a tree and cur division, which is a cur and hound cross or a cur and bird dog cross. And then they have the hound division. And but the regular hunts are open. Anything you bring, they all draw out together and hunt against each other. And then they have a big hunt in January that they call Breed Nationals. And at Breed Nationals, all the breed classes hunt against their own breed. And the winner of each breed, they all draw out in a 4-dog final cast, and each breed winner hunts against each other, and they kind of have a breed champion or a national champion of all the breeds. So that's a pretty cool hunt to go to. But
Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But at just the regular NSD hunts through the year, everybody hunts against each other. But your point, whichever category you're registered in, like if you're registered in the cur division, then they accumulate your points and keep track of your points in the cur, because they have a breed race throughout the year. So you'll be competing against all the cur dogs in the points race. So it's pretty cool. I mean,
That is.
And NSD's growing fast. They're blowing up and having big hunts, and it's a good organization. And there was a lot of fussing and bickering in the OMCBA over people because they don't have, in the OMCBA there's no DNA, so there's a lot of people that were breeding dogs that weren't cur dogs into them and then bring them to the hunts and competing, and there was a lot of bickering over that. So they started the NSD program, and you can just hunt whatever you want, but you can't false paper anything because they all have to be DNA'd. So
that's good. I like that part.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a big fan of NSD. It's a really cool organization, and I've never had a problem with any kind of mixing up dogs or breed whatever you want, but I don't like when they false paper them.
Yeah, you get somebody who's trying to slip something in there to make it something that it's not, then that's just a crock of shit, and they're just lying. And like you said, if they're DNA in it, then it's like, okay, buddy, you tell the truth about it, and everybody knows, so nobody's hiding anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and the DNA deal is pretty awesome. I mean, it only costs you I think it's $42 to have your dog DNA'd. And once you DNA the dog, then when you have a litter of pups, you just send in for a litter registration, and they send you a swab kit of how many ever pups you have, and then you swab all them puppies and send their swabs back in, and it'll tell you if they're really out of the parents that you say they're out of or not.
Yeah.
And the sire and dam both have to be DNA'd before you start. So it's a pretty good deal, and it could catch accidental stuff too. You might think they're out of your dog, and you didn't know that the neighbor dog got over there or whatever. And when you swab them pups, you could have one or two of them that show up and say they're not what you thought they were. So it can help with that too. Or it might not be the neighbor dog. It might be one of yours, that got out or got loose or got too close on one of the tie outs or something you didn't know about. And with the DNA, you'd be able to tell that.
I wonder how many times something like that has happened. And not saying that people knew about it. What I'm saying is, how many times do you think that's happened that nobody knew about it, and those pups were nowhere near what they were thought to be?
Oh, it happens. I know of an instance where somebody bought a dog that was in heat, and they bought it specifically to breed to their male dog, and they didn't know that before they bought it, it had already been bred by something, and they bred it to their dog when they right after they bought it, and end up the pups didn't come back, or half the pups come back, or whatever, that they weren't what they thought they were. And what happened was the dog was bred before he got it. He bought it in heat, and it wasn't supposed to be bred, and it had already been bred. And I think that was why the old boy was selling it. He probably knew that the neighbor Chihuahua got in there. He said, I better get rid of this one.
He's like, it's bred right, top and bottom, baby. Good to go.
Yeah. So it's a good deal. I mean, it can catch accidental mistakes, and then it keeps the people honest that are not being honest. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I don't really know. There's a lot of people that argue against it, and say you don't need it and whatnot. And I agree. I mean, if you've got a breed standard and you want to add something in, as long as it meets the breed standard, then it might not necessarily be hurting anything. But what does DNA hurt? I mean, the only thing DNA does is just confirms what you're doing and puts it on paper and proves it. So I mean, if you're trying, it can't hurt anything.
Yeah, I don't see where it could hurt at all in any form or fashion, unless you were trying to be shady or pull some slick stuff.
Right.
That would be, and I understand the point where it's like, no, we shouldn't have to do that. No, you shouldn't have to, but it's available, and if people agree to do it, then I don't see the harm in it either, because I just don't see where it's hurting anything. I think it would be an improvement, because you would have proof stating that, yes, this dog is exactly what we thought it was, or, hey, we thought it was this and it's not.
Yeah.
Either way.
And most people that are against it don't completely understand it. And they think that it's going to show that their dog's not purebred, or their dog's not, like mountain curs they originated from mutts. They were a mix of dogs that made them, which all breeds of dogs came from mixes of dogs. But the mountain curs, a lot of people that are against it, they think they're going to DNA their dog, and it's going to show that he's 75% hound or something, and it's going to hurt their feelings. But that's not what it does. The only thing that it does is you DNA your dog, the parents, and they get a DNA profiled number on file. And then when you breed them, you swab them puppies, and all it does is confirms that those puppies are out of those dogs that you said that they were out of. That's all it does. And the very first dog that you DNA in the pedigree, it don't matter what it is. It can be a Chihuahua or a July Hound. It don't matter. It's just going to get a number, and then the next puppies off of that are just going to prove that they're out of those dogs. It don't matter what the original ones were.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about the breed, the name of the breed. It's about, okay, this is the purity of the dog, of the puppy.
Yeah, it's just proof of parentage is all it is.
Yeah, if I tell you, hey, Lane, I breed these bird bulls, been breeding them for 20 years. I got them DNA. Well, I go DNA them, and they come back, the mama's bird dog and the daddy's bulldog. That's exactly what I said. And then when the puppies come out, they're bird and bulls. Well, it doesn't matter that they're bird or bulls. Like, it's exactly because they're out of those two parents. That's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter the breed, correct? It's just, keeping track of what's bred.
Yeah, because if you're making that bird and bull cross, and one of your jags gets in there and breeds your female, and you didn't know it, and one of them pups comes out there and
they don't match up, I know something happened.
And then you swab the puppy, and you're trying to sell it to me as a bird bull, and you may not even know. It may not be on purpose. It might be accidental.
That's what I'm saying.
I swab it.
It's helpful to everybody.
Yeah, and it'll show, hey, this one out of the litter ain't right, or whatever. And another thing that people are doing, they're using it to their advantage, and they're raising dual sired litters.
Oh yeah.
So they'll have a female, and they might have two really nice dogs, male dogs that they want to breed to, and instead of waiting 2 years to test them out, or 2 cycles. They'll breed both of them in the same cycle, and both parents are DNA'd. And when that litter comes out, they'll swab all them puppies. And if they have a litter of 10, 6 of them might be out of one of the dogs, and 4 of them might be out of the other male dog.
That's right.
And they can test both sires out in the same litter.
Yeah, I think that would be a huge advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it speeds a lot of stuff up. I mean, you got a nice female. By the time you know that she's nice, she's gonna be, maybe 2 years old, 3 years old, or whatever. You really ain't got a whole lot of years to make the crosses you want to make and see what she's going to reproduce. If you got a couple nice male dogs you want to try out on her, you could do it at the same time.
Oh yeah. And
if it wasn't for DNA, you'd never know it.
No. So with that, is there any stipulations, like say if you join up with the NSD, do you have to hunt so many hunts, or can you just be a member and to the registry and get your dogs DNA?
Yep. You don't have to hunt anything. It's you have to have a breeder's license, which is like, I think it's $25 and that gets you your breeder's license for your lifetime. And then you'd have to DNA whichever dogs you're starting with, and those dogs would be single registered, so they wouldn't show anything behind them on their pedigree. You would, like, if you DNA'd White Boy Rick, it would just say White Boy Rick on his pedigree, and that's all it would show. And then if you DNA'd one of your other dogs, and then if you made that cross, you'd send in for a litter registration, and they'd send you the swab kits, and you'd swab them puppies. And then those papers would say that they're out of White Boy Rick and whatever your female is, and that it would come back certified that they're DNA'd and they're out of those 2 original dogs that you single registered. And those puppies' papers would show the sire and dam.
I got you. Yeah, that's pretty cool there. I probably will be definitely looking into that.
Yeah, and you don't have to hunt.
That's a way you could actually register a litter of hog dogs and keep up with it. If they weren't full-blooded black-mouthed curs or Catahoulas or something like that, you could use this to your advantage in so many different ways.
Yeah. The only thing that'll be a little bit kind of weird about it, and it won't, I mean, it probably won't matter to most people, but like, you'll have to pick one of those 4 breeds that they only claim. You'd have to register your dog as one of them breeds. So you'd have to pick Hound, Tree and Cur, or Feist is what you'd have to pick. Yeah, but like my little terrier that I had, I DNA'd her as a Feist, and I was planning on breeding her to one of my cur dogs and raising some just straight decoy dogs. And they were going to be registered through NSD and DNA profiled and proven and all that. But it would have said they were out of the cur and the Feist, but it would have been my little Jag and then my Rex dog.
Yeah. That's what, but like, because the majority of what we'd be running would either be Hound or Cur.
Right. Or if it's a mix, you could put them down as Tree and Cur if you wanted to, but I mean, they're not treeing, but yeah, you could just register them as Cur or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you could do it.
That's pretty cool.
And it's not that expensive either, and it's a pretty easy process to go through.
Hell yeah. I've learned a lot about that tonight, man. It's been very well. It's very good for me tonight on learning about that NSD stuff. I've been curious about it, and I've talked. We've talked to several different people who run tree dogs and they squirrel hunt and different things like that. And it's we've talked about the NSD some, but we haven't got in depth like this about it.
Yeah,
and it's about time we did.
Y'all ever considered going to any squirrel hunts or coon hunts with your dog?
Yes, sir. We need to. The past couple of years, we were still doing the supply store, and so we would go to the KSBA hunts, the Kimmer stuff, but we never could go hunt because we were working.
Yeah.
You know, we were there
Right.
working, and now we've done away with all that. So hopefully we can take some of these old yeller dogs and see if we can't put something up the wood,
Right.
because they'll have a good
Yeah,
old hunt.
it's fun, man. It's addicting. I mean, you'll go, and then everybody's got a little bit of competitive side to them, you know. So you'll see what it takes, and you know, if you got a good squirrel dog and you go, and if you don't do good, it'll probably be more because the dog's kind of trained specifically for the rules. You know, they might not be any more talented at treeing squirrels than your dog, but they're going to be more disciplined to the rules. You know, so then
Oh yeah.
you get that itch to, man, I think I could do this a little different. You know, and that's kind of the rabbit trail I went down. You know, I had my first mountain cur dog that I had, you know, he's still this day the best squirrel treer I ever had. And I got beat in some hunts, and I never got beat because I got somebody treed more squirrels than me. I just got beat because you know, my dog wasn't trained to the rules or whatever. And I thought, man, I'm gonna get my next one's gonna be trained for this, you know, and so it changes your training a little bit, and but a lot of people will say, you know, that them competition dogs aren't squirrel dogs, but I can promise you, you're not gonna win nothing with a dog that don't treat squirrels.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Them dogs are them competition dogs they're gonna treat squirrels, and they're gonna do it fast, and they're gonna be tied on the tree, and then on those shit days where nothing's moving, and most pleasure hunters are not even going to go because they know they're not going to have no good. Those competition dogs are still going to go tree where a squirrel lives, you know,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just making a circle and coming back and standing at your feet. They're still going to go get hooked on a tree somewhere. So I mean, that's the difference. But the really good competition dogs can do both. I mean, they're gonna, if the squirrels are moving, they're gonna tree a pile of squirrels, and if they ain't moving, they're gonna show you where they live. And a lot of good pleasure dogs don't do that. And normally it's not because they can't. It's just because most pleasure hunters don't go on those types of days. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
That's
those
right.
dogs have never been exposed to it. And I mean, I found myself hunting in competition hunts where I'm like, what in the flip are we doing out here today? You know, we went to the UMCA World Hunt in Hazen last year. I mean, it was the hardest rain that I've ever hunted in. Rain and lightning and wind blowing and stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing out here? This is nuts, you know. But they set that date, you know, a year in advance, and whatever that day is, that's what they're going to hunt in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what separates them competition dogs and the pleasure dogs. And I mean, first round we cut loose, and it was just lightning striking around us and pouring down rain, and I thought, man, Rex. I don't really consider Rex a competition style dog, but he's gonna try to he's gonna do something, you know, even if it's wrong. He went out hunting in the first round, and them competition dogs were making trees, and he wasn't doing. He was hunting, but he hadn't made a tree for the longest time, and he finally got treed about. There was a 90-minute cast in the first round, and he about an hour into it, he finally made a tree, and we went in there, and he had a squirrel, and he ended up winning the first round of the world hunt with one squirrel. That was the only squirrel we treed in the whole the whole cast. I think we scored like 7 trees and with 3 dogs, and he only made one tree, and he was the only one that had a squirrel in the first round. He advanced to the next round, and I ended up getting beat in the next round, but it was the same type of deal. Like the other dogs were making a bunch of trees, and he was out hunting forever and ever and ever. And he made one tree in the second round too, and went in there to score his tree. And he was, if you could have painted a squirrel tree, it. You know, it had
Yeah.
vines going all into it and nests and everything. And I thought, oh yeah, he's gonna have a squirrel here, and we're gonna go to the next round. And the only thing I think what hurt him is he had his front feet on a big old vine that went up into that nest, and he was treeing, and his feet were hitting on that vine, shaking it. and he had been there for probably 30 minutes because had to walk to another dog and score another tree and then walk back to him, and he'd been there a while. And I think he done shook that squirrel out. I think that squirrel done timbered out, but we searched forever and never did find it, and he ended up getting beat in that round. But it was just horrible, horrible conditions. Most guys that pleasure hunt are not going to hunt in that, and their dogs are never going to get exposed to that type of stuff. And there's a lot of them that can do it, but they ain't going to do it if you don't expose them to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, if you you're not going to tree a squirrel if you don't hunt.
Right.
You'll never tree one if you don't go.
Yeah, and you can have the best squirrel tree in the world, and if you only cut them loose on bluebird days, and they learn how to tree them easy squirrels, then they're not going to be as good as a dog that hunts in all conditions, and then you turn that dog loose in bad conditions. The one that's been hunted in all conditions is going to do a lot better than the one that's hunted on bluebird days all the time.
That's right.
And that's generally the difference between the competition style dogs and the pleasure dogs, is they see so much. Those competition dogs are going to a hunt every weekend, and they're hunting in every type of condition and different terrain, and they might be in Arkansas one day and Oklahoma the next, and Mississippi the next weekend, and they're hunting in all different stuff.
Yeah,
it'll definitely test them.
Ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt about that. Man, that's
yeah.
That's been I think we need to have more conversations regarding these competition hunts and stuff in the tree dog world on here. So, we figure out what me and Nate will talk some more and see if we can't figure out something where we can do this a little more often. Maybe you can keep us up to date on some of the stuff that's going on with these associations and registries and all these competition hunts, if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. The competition side of it, and I hate that it's this way, but that's competition in all of the dog hunting is what's keeping them alive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that the pleasure hunters aren't, doing their part or whatever. It's just that's where all the attention is and the media is, and the people that aren't hunters, they're not going to get introduced or exposed to the pleasure hunter. Typically, they're going to see on Facebook where a squirrel dog got turned loose to hunt for a truck or something like that, and that's what's going to pique their interest, and bring new people to the sport. And that's what I care about, and like with our club, and our motto for our club is keeping the tradition alive. We've got shirts and stuff that we've made that has that on there, and all of our money goes towards that youth hunt where we try to take kids that ain't never been, and we tell them, when we advertise it don't matter if you have a hunting dog or not. Like, if you're not doing something, bring your kid. And we got plenty of people there that have dogs that don't have a kid, and we'll give them a dog, and let them go hunt, or we'll take them coon hunting on Friday night, and they don't even have to have a dog. They just tag along, and they might get to shoot one out or whatever. And then Saturday morning, if they want to go get a dog to hunt in the squirrel hunt, they can. Or if they don't want to do that, we'll let them turn one loose in the treeing contest, or put one on a bench show or whatever. Just try to introduce them to it in some way so that we can pass it on down to the next generation.
Man, that's what it's all about right there. I think that's a good spot right there to cut this one. We got right at 2 hours in on this episode. I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you want to add to this, Lane?
No, I don't have nothing to add. I mean, I appreciate y'all wanting to talk to me and talk about the ODHA and our hunting organization stuff, and tell people what it's all about. I mean, it's good stuff, and I hope I encourage everybody to join the dog hunting organization of some kind, because a lot of us are busy and stuff like that, and they can't do as much as if you can't do as much as you'd like to grow it, donate your money to one of them organizations, because I promise you, though, they've got guys in place that are doing the legwork and working their tails off to grow it and protect it too. Protecting it's a big part of it.
That's right.
If we don't protect it, we damn sure ain't going to grow it.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, Lane, man, like I said, once again, thank you so much for taking your time out and coming on here with us.
Yes, sir.
I learned, like I said, I learned a lot right there at that last part where we was talking about the NSD. I had no idea all that was going on. And that's something that can be very useful, even if you're not a competition squirrel hunter. There's a lot of things that can be useful, and it can help that entity grow as well. And it can help you keep your stuff straight. But
and I mean, NSD stands for National Sporting Dog, so it's not. I mean, you'll get papers they won't even say squirrel dog on them.
That's
if you got a hog dog, you want the register, it's just going to say National Sporting Dog. So,
yep, that's exactly right. So, well, man, hey, appreciate you. We look forward to talking with you some more in the future. And when you get anything, like if we need some links or something like that, Nate can put them down in the description and let people know what to do and what to look for and how to find you guys.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, Lane, brother. You have a good night. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Lane.
Yeah, you too. See y'all later.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. All right, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool about the whole NSD thing. I really like that. That can really help you keep clarity on a line of dogs that you're breeding for yourself and just to keep it all clear. You know what I mean? And if you think, hey, I might have a dog might have got to one of my females that wasn't supposed to, this can pull it out through all the DNA testing. So, man, that was pretty cool. And we do need more stuff about tree dogs on here as well. We have a really diverse group of listeners, and we want to try to have something in there for everybody. It's we do a little bit of everything ourselves, and there's a lot of people that do, and so we want to try to keep it like that. And remember, hey, support those who support you, and even if they don't support you, you can still support them. It doesn't matter. You can just still do your thing. Hats off to the Florida dog hunters. Man, they got their bear season back going in. That's just so freaking awesome. To me, it's like a lot of people have no idea how big of a deal that is. Hats off to them. Congratulations, guys. Y'all keep it up. Dog Hunter Association is working hard down there. And until the next time, to all y'all listeners out there in the world, man, we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If there's anything or anyone you'd like to hear on the podcast, or if you'd like to come hunt with us, don't hesitate to contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com.